A man stands before a packed London hall, unfurling a map of Poyais, his voice ringing with conviction. He offers land grants, government bonds, and the promise of a new life to anyone bold enough to seize it. The crowd erupts in applause. Investors line up, money in hand. Adventurers sign up for the first ships, dreaming of riches and glory. In that moment, the man doesn't just sell a fantasy, he sells hope itself. If you're ready to uncover more secrets behind the world's most fascinating cons, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell. That way, you'll never miss the next twist in the world of cons, and you'll always be one step ahead of the game. MacGregor claims to be Cazique, that is the prince or chief of Poyais, absolute ruler of a Central American paradise. He paints a picture so vivid, you can almost feel the tropical breeze. Lush rainforests, fertile land, rivers shimmering with gold, official documents, maps, even a constitution. He promises titles, lands, and the chance to get in on the ground floor of a new nation. Picture this, London, 1820s. The city is a magnet for fortune seekers. Banks flush with cash, investors hungry for the next big thing. Into this world steps Gregor MacGregor, a man with a military swagger, a chest full of medals, and a story so grand, so audacious, that no one dares to question it. Gregor MacGregor was born in 1786 in the Scottish Highlands, a region scarred by clan wars, poverty, and the fading glory of ancient nobility. Descended from minor aristocrats, MacGregor grew up with tales of lost grandeur and the promise of greatness just out of reach. He served as an officer in the British Army during the Napoleonic Wars, but his ambitions far outstripped his rank. Disillusioned by military life and the rigid class system, MacGregor set out for the Americas, where he reinvented himself as a war hero and a visionary. The chaos and the opportunity of post-colonial Latin America proved fertile ground for his grandiose imagination, and soon he was spinning tales of kingdoms and riches. Determined to claim the status he felt destiny owed him. MacGregor's con is a masterpiece of detail. He prints guidebooks, complete with glowing descriptions of Poyais' climate, resources, and society. He appoints officials, sells government bonds, and even sets up a Poyaisian embassy in London. The British elite, dazzled by the promise of easy wealth and exotic adventure, pour their fortunes into his hands. He charters ships, fills them with settlers, families, craftsmen, soldiers, all eager to claim their piece of paradise. They set sail clutching deeds and dreams, hearts pounding with anticipation. But the reality? Poyais doesn't exist. The land MacGregor rules is a patch of mosquito-infested jungle on the coast of Honduras. There's no city, no infrastructure, no gold, just wilderness and disease. When the settlers arrive, the illusion shatters. They find nothing but ruin. For the settlers, hope turns to horror. Some write desperate letters home, many fall ill, some die. Others are too sick to move. The dream of Poyais becomes a nightmare they can't escape. The survivors, desperate and betrayed, eventually make their way back to Britain with the horrifying truth. Meanwhile, MacGregor is already spinning new tales, selling more bonds and dodging the authorities with the skill of a seasoned actor. He moves from London to France, then back again, always a step ahead of the law, always ready with a new story. The scandal finally breaks. Survivors' stories flood the newspapers. Investors demand answers. The British government launches investigations. MacGregor is arrested, tried for fraud, and thrown into a French prison. But even behind bars, he never admits defeat. He insists Poyais is real, that he's a victim of circumstances, not the architect of ruin. Remarkably, MacGregor is acquitted in France, and he returns to London, where he continues to peddle his fantasies, although with less success. He eventually flees to Venezuela, dying in relative obscurity, never truly punished for the devastation that he caused. His name will become a warning, a symbol of how grand ambition, unchecked, can ruin lives and rewrite history. The lesson? MacGregor's con worked because he understood a fundamental truth. People will believe almost anything if it's wrapped in hope and delivered with confidence. The bigger the dream, the easier the sale. That's the legend of Gregor MacGregor, the man who invented a kingdom, sold it to the world, and proved that sometimes the most dangerous lies are the ones we want to believe. As the survivors of Poyais return home, dreams shattered. MacGregor's name becomes a byword for grand deception. But how did he convince a nation to invest in a fantasy? How did one man convince so many to chase a mirage? For many, the scars of Poyais last a lifetime, a reminder that the brightest dreams can cast the darkest shadows. So what were the psychological tools behind MacGregor's grand illusion? Let's dissect the persuasion and deception that built and broke the myth of Poyais. So how did MacGregor pull off such a grand illusion? Here's how the anatomy of the con unraveled and why so many believed. Gregor MacGregor's Poyais scheme began with a deep, almost clinical understanding of human nature. He knew that people are not simply rational actors. They are driven by hope, pride, ambition, and the desire for secret knowledge. As R.B. Sparkman writes in The Art of Manipulation, people rarely see what is there. They see what they are prepared to see. MacGregor recognized that, especially in post-Napoleonic Britain, many were primed for opportunity and susceptible to dreams of sudden fortune and status. By crafting a vision that matched those expectations, he didn't have to force belief. He simply had to give people permission to see what they already wanted to find. MacGregor's personal magnetism was a critical asset. As a decorated soldier and self-styled Prince of Poyais, he projected authority, credibility, and a noble bearing. His military background and supposed noble lineage triggered the halo effect. People assumed his confidence and credentials meant that he was honest and trustworthy. This social proof made his audacious claims seem plausible, even desirable. Rather than overtly selling a fantasy, MacGregor masked his true intent, all behind a facade of legitimacy. He created a fictional government, issued forged documents, and set up Poyaisian offices in London, Edinburgh, and Glasgow. He let investors and settlers discover the opportunity, making them feel as if they were acting on their own insight, rather than being manipulated. This indirect approach, letting others fill in the blanks, made the dream of Poyais feel like their own brilliant find, not a hard sell. The very idea of a lush, unspoiled nation, rich in resources and waiting for settlers, stood in stark contrast to crowded, class-bound Britain. This incongruity captured imaginations and attention. MacGregor's elaborate maps, guidebooks, and official-looking paperwork painted a vivid, irresistible picture that overrode skepticism and drew people deeper into his web. MacGregor's scheme worked because it satisfied several deep psychological needs. The first was hope. He offered a new beginning, land, and riches in Poyais, appealing to those disillusioned with their prospects at home. The next was secret knowledge. Investors felt that they were privy to an exclusive, almost secret opportunity, heightening their sense of importance. The next was the need to be right. Once committed, victims' egos became invested in their decision, making it hard to admit error. Then there's the need for power. The chance to become landowners or leaders in a new country was irresistible, especially for those who felt powerless in Britain. MacGregor's con followed the classic confidence game formula. The approach? He targeted ambitious Britons, farmers, middle-class families, and investors yearning for a better life. The build-up. He produced elaborate maps, a constitution, currency, and even a Poyaisian honor system, which helped him in establishing credibility. The convincer. He arranged for official Poyaisian bonds, land deeds, and endorsements, and told stories of order and abundance. The hoorah. He created urgency. Opportunities are limited. Act now. and fostered public excitement. The blow-off. When the truth emerged, MacGregor vanished, leaving victims to rationalize their losses or suffer in silence. MacGregor's marks were easy prey for several reasons. Many were desperate for a fresh start and willing to believe in the promise of Poyais. The era's limited access to reliable information made verification difficult, especially with MacGregor's convincing documents and endorsements. His military and noble status, along with the trappings of legitimacy, made skepticism unnecessary or even impolite. Even after the truth was revealed, many victims rationalized their losses, blaming bad luck or others rather than admitting that they had been duped. Some even defended MacGregor, insisting that the failure was due to unfortunate circumstances and not fraud. This self-deception protected their pride and allowed the myth of Poyais to linger. Gregor MacGregor's Poyais scheme remains one of history's most audacious frauds because it exploited the deepest human drives: hope, the desire for secret knowledge, the need to be right, and the longing for power and status. By masking his intent, leveraging charisma and authority, and satisfying hidden psychological needs, MacGregor convinced a nation to invest in a fantasy. The ultimate lesson: when our deepest hopes are engaged and our egos are invested, even the most rational among us can be led to believe and fight for a dream that never existed. And sometimes the cost of that dream is paid in heartbreak and ruin. But what if the world's greatest art heist wasn't about stealing a masterpiece, but about selling the illusion of one? Next time, we follow the trail of Eduardo de Valferno, the mysterious Argentine conman who allegedly masterminded the theft of the Mona Lisa. Not to keep it, but to sell 6 convincing forgeries to unsuspecting millionaires. How did Valferno turn the world's most famous painting into the ultimate confidence game? And could the entire story itself be the greatest con of them all, cleverly spun by a crafty journalist? Don't miss this incredible tale of deception, ambition, and the art of the perfect scam. Subscribe now and be the first to decide. Was Valferno the mastermind behind history's boldest art con, or just another legend painted by the press? You be the judge.